The case that even the FBI couldn't solve. It began with a single phone call, one that sent shockwaves through an entire town. By the time the FBI arrived, the crime scene looked more like a riddle than reality. Evidence pointed everywhere and nowhere at all. And for years, no one has been able to untangle the truth. In the quiet town of Ravenbrook, Pennsylvania, a 32-year-old woman named Laura Kensington vanished without a trace. On the night of September 14, 2002, she left her office late, waving goodbye to her colleagues, and walked toward the parking lot. Security cameras captured her reaching her car, and then she was gone. No struggle, no broken glass, no sign of forced entry. It was as if Laura had evaporated into thin air. Within hours, her disappearance made headlines. Detectives swarmed the lot. The FBI soon joined in, but what they found only deepened the mystery. Inside her car, her purse, her ID, her phone, all untouched. The driver's seat, however, was adjusted set too far back for her height. Someone else had been there. The FBI profilers believed Laura had been abducted, but who could have pulled it off in a well-lit parking lot with dozens of cameras? Here's the first twist. The security footage from that night had missing frames. At exactly 8:46 p.m., for 22 seconds, the footage went dark. When it resumed, Laura was gone. The system had no signs of hacking. The tapes weren't tampered with. So what happened in those 22 seconds? Detectives wondered if Laura was targeted by someone inside the company, but interviews with her co-workers revealed something darker. For weeks, Laura had been complaining that she was being followed. She told friends about a black SUV parked outside her home, shadowing her on her way to work. No one believed her. When investigators pulled traffic cam footage from the surrounding streets, one vehicle kept appearing, a black Chevy Suburban. But here, the chilling part, every time the FBI ran the plates, they came back as different vehicles. One day it was registered to a family in Ohio. The next, to a government vehicle in Virginia. Then, the plate numbers didn't exist at all. It was as if someone or something was erasing their tracks in real time. The FBI called it the Phantom SUV. 6 months after Laura's disappearance, her family received a letter in the mail. The handwriting was hers, the paper carried her fingerprints, but the message was terrifying. "I'm safe, don't look for me, trust no one." The FBI confirmed it was her handwriting. The letter was real, but here's the impossible detail. The letter had been postmarked 3 days after she vanished. Laura had been alive. 2 years later, another letter arrived. Same handwriting, same fingerprints. This time the note read, "The truth is bigger than you think. The ones watching me are watching you too." The FBI was stunned. Were they dealing with an elaborate hoax, a government cover-up, or something far more sinister? And then came the discovery that turned the case upside down. The paper the letter was written on was a military issue, the kind used in classified reports, paper not available to the public. To this day, no trace of Laura Kensington has been found. Nobody, no confirmed sightings, nothing. The Phantom SUV, never identified. The letters still locked away in FBI archives. Agents who worked the case claim they were ordered to drop it quietly. Every investigator involved in the case reported the same thing. They too started noticing a black SUV outside their homes. And then it stopped. 3 years after Laura Kensington's disappearance, another envelope arrived at her parents' home. Unlike the others, this one wasn't handwritten. The text was typed, neat and cold, but in the corner of the page was something chilling, a single drop of blood. DNA testing confirmed it belonged to Laura. Attached was a hand-drawn map of a remote woodland area, roughly 80 miles outside Ravenbrook. The FBI mobilized immediately. Helicopters, search teams, and dogs swept the area for days, and deep in the woods, they found something. A makeshift campsite. A burned-out fire pit. And buried beneath the ashes, military-grade encrypted radios. But no sign of Laura. While agents processed the campsite, another twist emerged. A retired FBI agent anonymously contacted a local journalist. He claimed Laura's disappearance wasn't just a kidnapping, it was connected to a classified government program called Project Echo. Project Echo, according to him, was designed to recruit civilians with specific skills: linguists, code breakers, analysts, and use them for covert operations. Laura Kensington had been a corporate data analyst with an unusual talent for breaking encrypted systems. Was she recruited or abducted? When the journalist tried to press for more information, the agent vanished. His phone disconnected, his home emptied overnight. Another strange twist came from one of Laura's old friends, Evelyn Hart, who swore she saw Laura alive 2 years after the disappearance. She described spotting Laura in a crowded train station in New York, but before Evelyn could approach, Laura looked directly at her, put a finger to her lips, and disappeared into the crowd. When Evelyn reported it, the FBI dismissed her as unreliable. 2 months later, Evelyn was found dead in what was ruled a car accident. But her sister revealed Evelyn had been receiving the same black SUV surveillance Laura once described. Years later, an investigative reporter obtained leaked FBI audio files from the original Ravenbrook parking lot. One tape stood out. A security guard radioing in at 8:47 p.m., the exact moment the cameras glitched, was heard saying, "She's inside the vehicle. Repeat, she's inside the vehicle. Orders confirmed." That tape was never entered into official case records. Someone on the inside knew exactly what happened to Laura. In 2015, nearly 13 years after Laura's disappearance, Laura's family received one final letter. It read, "I chose this, stop looking for me, the truth will destroy you if you keep digging, please let me go." But at the bottom of the letter, barely visible in the corner, was a series of numbers. When decoded, they pointed to coordinates in Nevada. Coordinates that matched the perimeter of a restricted U.S. Air Force Base Area 51. The coordinates pointed directly to the outskirts of Groom Lake, Nevada, the infamous restricted area more commonly known as Area 51. Investigators couldn't enter without authorization, but locals, ruckers, ranchers, and amateur UFO hunters reported strange sightings around the exact location. Unmarked black SUVs patrolling dirt roads at night. Military drones flying silently overhead. And on several occasions, a woman's voice faintly transmitting through civilian radio frequencies, repeating the same phrase. "Trust no one, they're listening." Experts who studied the recording swore the voice belonged to Laura Kensington. A whistleblower, an ex-contractor who had worked security near the base, came forward anonymously. He revealed that in 2003, the year after Laura disappeared, a new civilian analyst had been brought into a classified program within the base. Her job to decrypt foreign intelligence systems that even government supercomputers couldn't crack. But here the chilling part, she wasn't there voluntarily. According to him, these recruits were vanished civilians, people declared missing, who now lived under new identities within the program. When asked about Laura specifically, the contractor fell silent. Then he said only one word. "Yes." Days later, the whistleblower disappeared. In 2018, a researcher digging into the case uncovered something remarkable. A journal belonging to Laura, smuggled out of the Nevada desert by an unknown source. Most of it was written in code, but a few phrases were clear. They said, "I had no choice. The SUV is everywhere. If I run, everyone I love will die." But the final page contained only 3 words, written over and over again. "Echo is real. Project Echo, the rumored government program." As journalists prepared to publish Laura's story, something strange happened. Entire online archives of the Kensington case vanished overnight. Newspaper articles deleted, police files erased, even cached versions were scrubbed clean. It was as if Laura's disappearance had been rewritten out of history. Then came the ultimate twist. One investigative team camping near Groom Lake captured night vision footage of a convoy leaving the base. In the back of one of the trucks, barely visible through the grainy green footage, was a woman. Her face was gaunt but unmistakable. It was Laura Kensington. For nearly 20 years, she's been hidden in the shadows of America's most secret facility. But the question remains, was Laura Kensington a prisoner or a willing participant in something far darker? Days after that footage was released, the investigative team who captured it vanished without a trace. They thought they were the ones uncovering the truth, but just days after releasing the footage of Laura Kensington inside a military conv, the entire investigative team vanished, and what they left behind may be the most chilling evidence yet. The three-person team, journalist Daniel Price, camerawoman Sofia Alvarez, and researcher Mark Weaver, posted their footage online late one night in 2019. Within hours, the clip spread across forums, YouTube, and conspiracy blogs. Millions saw it before it was mysteriously pulled from every platform. The next morning, Daniel, Sophia, and Mark were gone. Their homes are empty, phones disconnected, credit cards unused. It was as if they had been erased. Weeks later, a small package arrived at Daniel's sister's house. No return address. Inside was a single USB drive. On it was an unfinished documentary the team had been editing, complete with notes, recordings, and uncut interviews. The most disturbing part, an audio log recorded just hours before their disappearance. Mark's voice shaky, whispering into the recorder. "The SUVs are here. They've been circling for hours. If anyone finds this, tell them Laura is alive. Tell them Project Echo isn't what we thought it was." The recording ends with the sound of a door crashing open and silence. Among the files on the USB was a scanned photograph. A woman in a lab coat, thin, pale, standing under harsh fluorescent lights. Her eyes hollow, but her face unmistakable. Laura Kensington. But something was wrong. On her arm was a barcode. And above her head, stenciled on the wall, were the words, "Echo Unit, property of USGOV." Shortly after the USB surfaced, Daniel's sister reported being followed. Unmarked cars parked near her home. Unknown callers breathing heavily into the phone at night. Then her house burned down in what was officially ruled an electrical accident. The USB was the only thing she had managed to send to journalists before the fire. And then came the biggest twist yet. Cyber experts analyzing the files discovered hidden metadata. Inside the code of one video file was a set of GPS coordinates. Those coordinates didn't point to Nevada. They pointed to an underground facility in Alaska. 2 months later, one last message surfaced, an encrypted email sent to multiple journalists. It contained only 2 lines. "You're looking in the wrong desert. I never left, LK." The email was traced back to an IP address inside an FBI building. The GPS coordinates hidden in the journalists' files pointed to a barren stretch of tundra near Nome, Alaska. On satellite images, the site looked like nothing but snow and rock, but on the ground, locals whispered about strange activity. Cargo planes landing in the middle of the night, the hum of generators beneath the earth, and bright flashes of light piercing through the ice on moonless nights. When researchers went to the location, they found a sealed steel hatch buried under the snow. It led down into darkness. Etched into the metal was a single word, Echo. Before the hatch could be investigated, a man came forward, a former contractor who claimed he had escaped from that very facility. He was frail, trembling, and paranoid. He said dozens of civilians officially listed as missing were being held underground as part of a psychological and technological experiment. According to him, Laura Kensington wasn't dead. She wasn't missing. She was the lead subject. Her mind, her skills, her ability to break codes had been harnessed to build something the government couldn't create on its own. A system capable of predicting crimes before they happened. But here's the twist. Laura didn't just cooperate. She perfected the system. And once she realized what it could do, she turned it against her captors. The survivor claimed Laura now had control of Project Echo itself, that she could manipulate data, erase records, and even dictate who would vanish next. "She isn't their prisoner anymore," he whispered. "They're hers." Shortly after, one last encrypted transmission was intercepted. It was traced to Alaska. It was her voice, calm, steady. "You've been searching for me, but I was never lost. I chose this path. Project Echo is mine now, and some truths are too dangerous to reveal. Remember, not every mystery is meant to be solved." The transmission ended. Seconds later, the entire Alaskan facility went dark. Satellite feeds showed the power grid collapsing, the hatch buried by a sudden controlled explosion. By the time investigators returned, there was nothing left. To this day, Laura Kensington's body has never been found. Her family still receives letters, each one typed, unsigned, and postmarked from different cities around the world. The FBI closed the file. The journalists who tried to expose it are still gone. And the chilling rumor remains. Project Echo is still running, but no one knows who is running it. Some believe Laura is alive, moving silently across the world, pulling strings no one else can see. Others believe she's long dead, her voice only an echo on the wind. But one thing is certain, the case that even the FBI couldn't solve was never meant to be solved. If you want more chilling mysteries, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Vault of CRMES, where the world's darkest secrets are never buried for long.